Have you ever wondered why some people seem to effortlessly attract success, love, or abundance, while others remain stuck in patterns of frustration or limitation? The answer lies not in luck, fate, or external circumstances, but in something far more subtle and powerful: belief. Welcome to Speech and Mind, the channel where thought meets transformation and your inner world sculpts your outer experience. In this video, we're going to explore the incredible power of belief, how it shapes your reality, how it programs your subconscious mind, and how to transform limiting beliefs using a unique blend of Neville Goddard's spiritual wisdom and the latest scientific research in neuroscience and psychology. So if you're ready to reprogram your mind, rewrite your story, and reclaim your power, let's begin. Part 1. Beliefs as the blueprint of reality. Let us begin with a foundational truth. You do not live in the world. You live in your perception of the world. What you see, interpret, and respond to in life is not objective reality, but a filtered, highly personalized version of it. This filter is made up of your beliefs, core assumptions about who you are, what's possible, and how reality is supposed to function. These beliefs are not casual thoughts. They are deep-rooted subconscious programs, silently orchestrating your emotions, your habits, your choices, and your fate. They form what we might call the invisible blueprint of your experience. Now consider this. Two people can witness the exact same event. Let's say a business opportunity, a relationship, or even a challenge, and walk away with entirely different interpretations. Why? Because they are not reacting to the event itself. They are reacting to what they believe about it and about themselves in relation to it. This is the essence of what Neville Goddard taught. Man is all imagination, and God is man and exists in us, and we in him. To Neville, belief is creation. The world outside is not a fixed external reality, but a reflection of your internal state. The images in your mind, when felt as true and persisted in, will eventually externalize in the form of conditions, events, and people. This is not metaphor. It is not wishful thinking. It is a law, a spiritual law, rooted in the nature of consciousness itself. But where does this idea come from? Neville wasn't a preacher in the traditional sense. He was not disseminating religious doctrine. He was interpreting scripture as psychological allegory, a symbolic language encoded not for the masses, but for those ready to awaken to their creative power. He believed that the Bible is not a book of ancient history, but a spiritual blueprint of the mind, a manual for manifestation and inner transformation. When Neville spoke of Jesus, he wasn't pointing to a man in history, but to the divine imagination within every person. To him, Jesus symbolizes the awakened imagination, your ability to assume a state, believe in it deeply, and bring it into being. In this context, statements like, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he," or "According to your faith be it unto you," are not moral teachings. They are expressions of universal psychological laws, laws that govern how thoughts and beliefs shape the very fabric of your life. So when Neville said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled," he wasn't suggesting you fake it or fantasize. He was pointing to a metaphysical principle that the inner state precedes the outer fact. In other words, you don't believe what you see what you believe. And this isn't just mystical rhetoric. Today, neuroscience is beginning to affirm what sages, mystics, and spiritual teachers have said for centuries. Beliefs shape perception. Perception shapes experience. Experience reinforces belief. A self-fulfilling loop until interrupted by conscious awareness. Part 2. The neuroscience of belief in the brain's predictive model. Let's now step into the realm of neuroscience to discover how modern science echoes what mystics like Neville Goddard taught through spiritual allegory. At the forefront of cognitive science is a revolutionary idea. The brain is not a reactive machine. It is a predictive modeler. In other words, your brain does not passively wait for reality to unfold. Instead, it constantly predicts what will happen next based on prior experience, deeply rooted beliefs, and emotional memory. Then, it projects those expectations outward, coloring what you perceive as reality. This means your experience of the world is not objective. It is a simulation, a highly sophisticated rendering based on what your subconscious mind expects to find. These expectations are not created in the moment. They are laid down over years of repetition. Childhood experiences, cultural conditioning, emotional traumas, parental voices, repetition of thoughts, all form the belief architecture of your brain's internal map. Now here's the kicker. The brain filters out data that doesn't match what you believe to be true. This phenomenon is called confirmation bias, and it's not a flaw. It's a feature of your neurological survival system. Your brain is wired to keep you consistent with what you believe, because familiarity equals safety. So if you believe that money is hard to make, love is dangerous, or I'm not good enough, your brain will unconsciously highlight evidence to support that and reject evidence that contradicts it. You'll literally walk past opportunities without recognizing them because they don't match your inner script. This is the neurological basis for what Neville called the law of assumption. Assume something long enough, feel it to be true, and your brain will begin adjusting perception and behavior to make it real. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Inside your brain is a network called the Reticular Activating System, RAS, the gatekeeper of your attention. It's constantly scanning your environment for information relevant to your dominant beliefs and goals. Have you ever bought a new car and then suddenly noticed that same car everywhere? That's the Reticular Activating System at work. It didn't appear suddenly. It was always there. But your awareness had not been primed to recognize it. Now imagine what happens when you prime your RAS not with random thoughts, but with intentional beliefs. Visions of success, wholeness, love, and possibility. Your brain literally begins reorganizing its attentional filters to seek out the people, situations, and insights that match your new assumption. In this way, belief becomes not only an emotional or spiritual phenomenon, it becomes a neurological directive. It instructs the brain what to perceive. It instructs the body how to feel. It instructs behavior what to do. And over time, it instructs the universe how to respond. Now let's bring this full circle. Neville Goddard taught that persistence in assumption is the key to transformation. Not because you're forcing the universe, but because you are retraining the instrument of awareness, your mind, your attention, your entire state of being. Neuroscience confirms this through the concept of neuroplasticity, the brain's lifelong ability to rewire itself. Repeated thoughts and emotional states literally reshape the brain's architecture. You're not stuck with the patterns of your past. You're not condemned to live out your inherited programming. You are the sculptor of your mind, and belief is your chisel. Part 3. Why it's not in the Bible, and yet it is. Now you might be wondering, if this law of belief shaping reality is so powerful, so universal, why isn't it explicitly spelled out in the Bible? Why doesn't it say in plain language, your imagination creates your life? The answer, according to Neville Goddard, is both simple and profound. Because Scripture was never meant to be read literally. Neville taught that the Bible is not a historical record, nor is it a moral code book. Instead, it is a psychological allegory, a sacred text written in symbolic language, speaking directly to the subconscious mind rather than the intellect. It is not the story of ancient people in faraway lands. It is the inner autobiography of the soul, a spiritual map of your own evolution, encoded in metaphor. Take, for example, the story of Moses parting the Red Sea. It is not merely a tale of geographical escape. Moses represents the higher faculty of will, and the Red Sea symbolizes the turbulent sea of emotion, the chaos of fear and resistance. Parting the sea is an allegory for mastering emotional turmoil through aligned intention and faith. Or consider Jesus raising Lazarus from the dead. This is not about physical resurrection. Lazarus symbolizes dormant potential, a dream or identity buried under disbelief. When Jesus, the divine imagination, calls forth Lazarus, he is reviving the self through assumption, breathing life into that which seemed lost. This is why Neville often said, "The Bible is the greatest psychological book ever written." When it declares, "According to your faith, be it unto you." It is not offering religious poetry. It is declaring a spiritual law as exact and dependable as gravity. But here's the crucial distinction. In this mystical tradition, faith is not hope. It is not wishful thinking. Faith is inner knowing, a psychological conviction, a felt sense that what you assume is true already is, even before physical evidence appears. This subtle yet powerful understanding places you in the role of the operant power in your reality, not as a passive observer waiting for divine intervention, but as the conscious creator of your world. Now let us bridge this mystical insight with modern science. Quantum physics has begun to echo the same truth through its most baffling principle, the observer effect. At the quantum level, particles do not exist in fixed states. They exist in a cloud of probabilities, potentialities, until they are observed. It is the act of conscious observation that collapses the wave function into a definite reality. In essence, what you expect to see, you help bring into form. What you believe, you attract not by magic, but by the subtle influence of consciousness itself. This mirrors Neville's central teaching. You become what you believe yourself to be. And not only Neville said this, the mystic Florence Scovel Shinn declared, "Your word is your wand. The subconscious is always ready to carry out your orders." Dr. Joseph Murphy, author of The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, wrote, "Whatever you impress on the subconscious mind is expressed on the screen of space." And from the East, the teachings of Ramana Maharshi speak of the self as the only reality. He taught that the world is a projection of mind, and liberation is recognizing that what you seek, you already are. Even Carl Jung, though not a mystic in the conventional sense, grasped this truth. He observed, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." These are not isolated voices. They are echoes of an ancient truth, whispered through many languages, many traditions. You are not separate from the divine creative power. You are its embodiment. And the Bible, when decoded through the lens of consciousness, becomes a manual for manifestation, a sacred riddle that reveals its secrets not to the literal mind, but to the awakened heart. So the reason it's not plainly written in black and white is because it was never meant to be instructional. It was meant to be initiatory. It awakens only when you are ready to see it. Or as Neville often said, truth depends upon the intensity of imagination, not upon facts. In the eyes of the mystic, Scripture is not what happened, it is what is happening within you. Part 4. How limiting beliefs control you and how to break free. Let's now transition from the symbolic and metaphysical to something intensely personal and profoundly practical. Limiting beliefs, those invisible, inherited patterns that quietly shape every area of your life. These are not just thoughts. They are assumptions you've accepted as truth, often unconsciously. They form the mental architecture of your identity and expectations, and they are powerful. They whisper through your inner speech, "I'm not smart enough." Success is for others, not for me. Love never lasts. This is just how life is. I always mess things up. People like me don't win. Most of these beliefs aren't chosen. They are inherited, absorbed, and imprinted. From early childhood, through repeated emotional experiences, cultural conditioning, and social reinforcement. They become core identity statements that operate like software in the background of your mind, silently yet decisively scripting your behavior, your reactions, and your outcomes. According to behavioral psychology, research suggests that up to 95% of our daily thoughts, decisions, and actions arise from the subconscious mind, not the conscious. In other words, most of what you do, feel, and experience is a byproduct of programming you didn't consciously install. But here is the liberating truth, and it is echoed across spiritual and scientific traditions. Beliefs can be changed. Identities can be rewritten. The brain is neuroplastic. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to physically reorganize itself by forming new neural connections in response to learning, imagination, intention, and repeated experience. Dr. Joe Dispenza, a neuroscientist and author of Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, states, "You can't create a new future by holding on to the emotions of the past. Your thoughts become your biology. Your mind, when properly focused, is the instrument of transformation." This mirrors Neville Goddard's timeless truth. Change your conception of yourself, and you will automatically change the world in which you live. To Neville, your concept of self is the seed of all external experience. When you assume a new identity, when you feel yourself to be already that which you desire, reality begins to conform. And this is not just a hopeful theory. The science of epigenetics, championed by Dr. Bruce Lipton, shows that our beliefs can influence gene expression. You are not a prisoner of your DNA. Your thoughts, environment, and expectations turn genes on or off, altering your biology in real time. So, if you were told growing up that money is hard to come by or you're not lovable, and you accepted those statements emotionally, they likely became unconscious truths embedded in your nervous system. But by consciously bringing those beliefs into awareness, questioning their validity, and reprogramming them through assumption, repetition, and felt experience, you can rewire your internal world and watch your external world change as a result. And again, this is not new. The Bible itself is filled with subtle affirmations of this process. "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." Romans 12:2. This isn't about passive hope, it's about conscious mental renewal. Neville interpreted this verse as literal psychological transformation. To renew your mind is to replace old assumptions with new ones, to adopt the inner posture of your desired outcome, and to live from the end rather than striving toward it. Even William James, the father of American psychology, declared over a century ago, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitudes of mind." So whether you approach this from ancient scripture, modern neuroscience, or mysticism, the message is unified and urgent. Your beliefs are not fixed. Your mind is not your fate. What you assume, you create. What you accept as true becomes your world, and what you repeat with conviction becomes your identity. The question then becomes, are your beliefs serving you or limiting you? Are they a bridge to your future or a prison built from your past? Part 5. Reprogramming the subconscious mind. So, how do we actually begin to transform the inner blueprint? How do we deconstruct limiting beliefs and install new mental architecture? consciously, consistently, and effectively? The answer lies in reprogramming the subconscious mind, the hidden engine room of your behavior, perception, and experience. And this isn't mystical speculation. It is supported by science, psychology, and the ancient spiritual traditions reinterpreted by teachers like Neville Goddard. Here are 5 foundational, time-tested, and evidence-supported methods to rewire your subconscious, and, by extension, your life. First method, assumption. The Neville Goddard Technique, with exercises. Let us begin with what Neville Goddard considered the master key to transformation. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. At first glance, this phrase may sound poetic, almost too simple. But do not mistake its simplicity for lack of power, because within it lies one of the most profound truths about how reality is shaped. What does it mean to assume the feeling? Neville was not speaking in metaphor. He meant this literally. Do not wait for circumstances to change. Do not seek signs, confirmations, or external approval. Instead, go within and occupy the state of your fulfilled desire, right now, internally. If you wish to be wealthy, assume the inner knowing of already being wealthy. If you desire love, assume the feeling of already being cherished. If you seek healing, assume the vitality and ease of already being whole. Why? Because reality mirrors your internal state, not your effort, not your desperation, not your need. Neville compared this to a seed planted in soil. A seed does not beg the earth to grow. It contains within itself the pattern of its fulfillment. So too, your assumed identity, when consistently lived in, must externalize itself in form. The science. Your brain is wired for assumption. Modern neuroscience confirms what mystics have long known. Inside your brain is a structure called the Reticular Activating System, RAS, a network that filters information from the world around you based on what your subconscious believes is important. In other words, what you assume to be true, your brain begins to search for, notice, and act upon automatically. If you believe you're not worthy, your RAS will highlight rejection, criticism, and exclusion, even when it isn't there. If you assume success, your RAS tunes into opportunities, allies, and ideas that align with that state. Assumption changes what you perceive, and perception drives behavior. Behavior shapes outcome. It all begins in mind. Exercises to embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled. These are not passive practices. They are reprogramming tools intended to shift your state at the identity level. Exercise 1. The Nightly Revision Ritual. 5 minutes before sleep. Inspired by Neville's own nightly practice. Before sleep, close your eyes and recall the day. Now ask, what experience today contradicted the life I desire to live? Choose one moment that reflects your old self. Rewrite it in vivid imagination as you would have wished it to unfold. Feel the satisfaction, peace, or success of that revision as if it happened. Your subconscious accepts impressions most powerfully before sleep, when the analytical mind is quiet. Do this nightly, and you will begin to overwrite the script of your life. Exercise 2. State installation through inner speech. 3 minutes, morning or mirror. Stand before a mirror or sit quietly. Say out loud, with feeling, I am already the person I choose to be. It is done. I now live from the end. Speak from your new identity, not your old self. Avoid future tense affirmations. You are not becoming, you are. Let the tone of your voice and your posture reflect the assumption. Exercise 3. Feel it, real visualization, 10 minutes. Take a little moment during the day. Sit still, close your eyes, breathe deeply. Now imagine a scene from the end, not the process. A moment that would naturally occur after your wish has been fulfilled. For example, receiving a congratulatory message, signing a contract, holding a loved one's hand, seeing your healed reflection. Let the scene be short, but loop it with emotion. What does it feel like? Let the feeling wash over you. Do not visualize to get. Visualize to become. Final thoughts on assumption. This is not about fake it till you make it. It's deeper. This is about being it until you see it. Because your outer life will always reflect your dominant state of being. Neville often said, "To be transformed, the whole basis of your thoughts must change. But your thoughts cannot change unless you have new ideas, for you think from your ideas." So begin today, not by struggling with the outer world, but by changing the root idea from which you think, feel, and act. Assume the wish fulfilled. Live from the end, and reality will reassemble itself to match your new conception. Second method, visualization plus emotion, rehearsing the reality you desire with guided exercises. Let's unlock one of the most powerful tools for transformation, visualization infused with emotion. You are not a machine observing a fixed world. Your brain is a meaning-making system, constantly interpreting, filtering, and creating your experience of reality based on what you feel and imagine to be true. The brain doesn't distinguish between actual experiences and vividly imagined ones, especially when emotion is involved. This isn't spiritual poetry, it's neurological fact. The science behind feeling it real. According to Dr. Joe Dispenza, a leading voice in the science of transformation, if you emotionally embrace a future event before it happens, the body begins to believe it's living in that reality now. And this is not just theory. Functional MRI scans show that mental rehearsal, visualizing an action in rich detail, activates the same neural pathways as physically performing the action. Athletes visualize winning races to wire in peak performance. Musicians rehearse mentally to strengthen muscle memory. Your nervous system is updated by imagination when paired with deep emotion. It becomes your new baseline for what is possible. Ancient wisdom. As a man thinketh in his heart. This principle isn't new. In the book of Proverbs 23:7, we read, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Not as he thinks in his head, but in his heart," the ancient symbol of emotion, soul, and subconscious belief. The mystics, prophets, and sages of old understood. A thought alone doesn't transform, but a thought felt deeply, impressed emotionally into the subconscious. That's the birthplace of new reality. So don't just see the new version of yourself. Feel it, live it, become it. Exercises to anchor. Visualization into emotion. These practices are designed to help you condition your brain and body to accept your future as now. Exercise 1. Movie scene of the future, 10 minutes. Step 1. Choose a scene. Pick one moment that would naturally occur if your dream were already real. Signing a book deal, opening your dream business, laughing with a soulmate, standing on a beach, healed and free. Step 2. Set the scene in vivid detail. Where are you? What's the temperature? What do you smell, see, hear? Step 3. Add emotion. This is the fuel. Feel the gratitude, the joy, The relief. Let your breath, posture, and facial expression reflect the state. Step 4. Loop it. Play this 20-second scene over and over until it becomes natural. Then let it go. Trust the seed is planted. Repeat this for 21 days, morning and night. Exercise 2. Identity visualization with affirmation. 5 minutes. Sit still. Close your eyes. See yourself being the person you want to be. Not becoming, but already embodying it. Watch yourself speak with clarity. See how people respond to you. Feel the ease, the confidence, the love. Now pair it with affirmations like, "This is who I am now." It feels so natural to live this way. "Thank you, it's already done." Repeat slowly. Let the words sync with the feelings. Let your nervous system accept it as true. Exercise 3. Morning emotional rehearsal. 2 minutes daily. Before your feet touch the ground each morning, place a hand on your heart. Breathe deeply. Say, "Today I remember who I am becoming. I feel it now." Then imagine one key moment from your ideal life happening today. Feel it with quiet certainty. Start your day not from reaction, but from creation. You are the author and the actor. You are not just a character in life's play. You are also the writer, the director, and the narrator. Every time you see and feel the reality you want, you hand your subconscious a new script, and the brain, obedient and creative, will bring it to life. Because here's the truth. Your body is the stage, your mind is the projector, and emotion is the electricity that lights it all up. Use it wisely. Third method, affirmations and inner speech, shaping identity through language. Change your words, change your world. Let's talk about the most underestimated tool of transformation, your inner voice. That quiet stream of thoughts running all day, the internal monologue that no one hears but you, is shaping your identity moment by moment. This is not just philosophical, it's biological, it's spiritual, it's universal. The neuroscience of inner speech. Your brain is a prediction machine. It listens to your inner dialogue and programs your biology accordingly. As Dr. Bruce Lipton, cell biologist and author of The Biology of Belief, explains, when a belief is repeated frequently, it becomes the subconscious program. The subconscious doesn't judge, it simply accepts. Your subconscious is not analytical. It doesn't argue. It absorbs whatever is repeated, especially when repeated with emotion. This is why affirmations aren't positive thinking fluff. They're neural instructions, if used correctly. The spiritual roots, language as creative force. This truth has echoed through the ages. In the Bible, in the beginning was the Word, John 1:1. The word, logos, is not just language, it's creative force. In Vedic traditions, mantras are vibrational tools that align the mind and body with sacred intention. Chanted with emotion and consistency, they alter consciousness. Neville Goddard taught, "Speech is the image of mind. Therefore, to change the expression of the mind, you must first change its worded flow." In all traditions, speech, especially inner speech, is causative. It is the engine of reality. How affirmations work, when done right. A powerful affirmation must be stated in the present tense, not "I will," but "I am." Be emotionally charged. Say it like you mean it. Be repeated frequently. Consistency is what reprograms the mind. Reflect your chosen identity, not just your desires, but who you are. Practical exercises. Program your inner narrative. Exercise 1. Identity anchoring affirmations, 5 minutes daily. Create 3 affirmations that reflect the person you are choosing to become, not just the outcome you want. For example, I'm grounded and unshakably confident. I trust myself and speak with clarity. I radiate calm strength and quiet certainty. Instructions. Stand in front of a mirror. Look into your eyes. Speak each affirmation slowly, with conviction. Say them 5 times each, emphasizing emotion. Pro tip: smile slightly while doing this. It helps anchor positive neurochemicals. Exercise 2. The Whisper Technique, Neville inspired. This is one of Neville's lesser-known but incredibly effective practices. How it works. In a quiet, meditative state, imagine someone you respect or yourself whispering your affirmation softly into your ear. For example, visualize your future self whispering, "You're doing it, you're ready, it's done. Thank you." This activates the subconscious more deeply than loud repetition. Exercise 3. Thought audit plus inner dialogue, rewrite. Throughout your day, catch one negative or limiting inner phrase. For example, "I always mess this up. I'm not good enough." Immediately pause, breathe, and replace it with an empowered statement. For example, limiting thought: "I can't handle this." Empowered. Rewrite: "I'm learning to handle this with strength and clarity." Do this 10 times a day for a week and watch your self-image evolve. Talk to yourself like you're becoming who you want to be. The difference between transformation and stagnation is often just this. Are you talking to yourself like you're broken, or like you're already becoming your higher self? Because your subconscious listens, and it builds a life in response to your inner narrative. Speak what you seek, not what you see. Over time, your words will become your worldview will become your habits, and your habits will shape your destiny. 4th methods: meditation and mental diets, starving the old, feeding the new. Stillness is not escape, it is command. Why meditation isn't about silence, it's about sovereignty. Let's debunk a myth. Meditation is not about emptying the mind. It's about reclaiming authorship over the mind. It's the practice of becoming the conscious observer rather than the unconscious reactor. It's where you move from being a passenger in your mental world to being the pilot. When you meditate, you create a sacred pause, space between stimulus and response. And in that space, identity is reshaped. This is where you begin to rewrite your story, moment by moment. The power of stillness, backed by neuroscience. Modern studies on mindfulness meditation show profound neurological changes. Shrinks the amygdala, your brain's fear and stress center. Thickens the prefrontal cortex, responsible for willpower, focus, and decision-making. Strengthens the default mode network, which governs self-referential thoughts, allowing you to consciously reframe identity. Put simply, meditation reduces your reactivity and strengthens your ability to choose your thoughts, rather than be chosen by them. This creates the perfect inner soil for transformation. Neville's revolutionary tool, the mental diet. Neville Goddard's idea of the 7-day mental diet is not just about thinking positively. It's a discipline of thought hygiene. You must train yourself to think only from the end and not react to appearances. This means no negative thought goes unchecked. No inner argument is entertained unless it supports your chosen self. No complaining, blaming, or doubting is left to echo in your mind. It's not about denial, it's about redirection. This practice is demanding, but also liberating. Because once you become the gatekeeper of your mind, you stop outsourcing your reality to circumstance. Meditation plus mental diet equals conscious creation. Together, these practices do more than calm the mind. They create an inner ecosystem aligned with your desired self. They starve the old identity, fear, doubt, limitation, and nourish the new, certainty, peace, possibility. Practical exercises. Rewire your inner world. Exercise 1. The 10-minute thought awareness meditation daily. Goal. Observe your thoughts without judgment. Learn the difference between you and your thinking. How? Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Watch your thoughts pass like clouds. Label them thought, memory, worry, etc. Gently return to your breath after each. This trains your prefrontal cortex to remain calm, centered, and aware. Exercise 2. The 7-day mental diet challenge, Neville inspired. For 7 consecutive days. No negative self-talk. No complaining, internally or externally. No indulging in what-if worries. Every time a negative thought arises, replace it consciously. For examples, I'm not good enough. Change to, I am becoming stronger, wiser, more aligned every day. Nothing works for me. Change to, everything is working in my favor, seen or unseen. Reset the 7 days if you slip for more than a moment. This is not punishment, it's power training. Keep a journal to log your slips and corrections. Watch your thought patterns shift. Exercise 3. Meditation as identity rehearsal, 5 to 7 minutes. Use your meditation not just for quiet, but for creation. How? Get into a relaxed, meditative state. Visualize your future self. How they walk, talk, think. Feel their energy, their presence. Sit in that state as long as you can. Do this daily to build subconscious familiarity with the new identity. The brain wires together what it rehearses with emotion and repetition. Become the master of your inner world. The goal is not to control every thought. The goal is to develop awareness so profound that no thought enters uninvited. Guard your mind, Neville said, as you would guard your most valuable possession, because it is. Your mind is your spiritual workshop, your neural garden, your reality-shaping instrument. Protect it, refine it, and use it wisely. 5th method, environmental reinforcement. Designing a reality that reflects your beliefs. What you surround yourself with, you become. Your environment is not passive, it's programming you. You are not only the author of your thoughts, you are also the curator of your world. We often speak of inner work as if transformation happens in a vacuum. But true, lasting change requires environmental alignment. Your surroundings act like an echo chamber, amplifying either your old patterns or your new identity. James Clear's insight, the invisible hand. In Atomic Habits, James Clear writes, "Environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. This means your habits, emotions, and beliefs are subtly but powerfully sculpted by the media you consume, the people you interact with, the symbols, words, and images in your space, the routines embedded in your physical environment. Your external landscape becomes a mirror and amplifier of your internal state, or it becomes resistance. Scripture and science align. The Bible warns, bad company corrupts good character. 1 Corinthians 15:33. And neuroscience confirms your brain constantly reprograms itself based on input from your environment. This is the essence of neuroplasticity. So the question becomes, what are you feeding your subconscious every day? Are your surroundings reinforcing your new self-concept, or are they keeping you tethered to the past? Cure it like a sacred artist. You are the interior designer of your consciousness. Every item, image, sound, and person in your space either strengthens your transformation or erodes it. Neville Goddard would call this living from the end. If you've assumed a new state, let your environment reflect it. Don't just wait for change. Build for it. Dress for it. Speak for it. Live for it. Practical exercises. Design your world for alignment. Exercise 1. Environmental audit. Aligning the outer with the inner. Take 15 to 20 minutes to walk through your living space and workspace. Ask yourself, does this space reflect who I'm becoming or who I used to be? Are there symbols of the life I'm creating here? What needs to be removed, added, or rearranged? Action. Remove 3 things from your environment that represent the old identity. Replace them with 3 new items that symbolize the new identity. Books, art, quotes, objects, vision board, etc. Exercise 2. Conversation, detox, and upgrade. Your environment includes the people you speak to regularly. Negative, cynical, or fear-based conversations drag your frequency down. Step 1. Identify relationships that reinforce your old patterns or self-doubt. Step 2. Limit exposure or consciously shift conversations to higher themes. Step 3. Cultivate new inputs. Listen to empowering podcasts, read growth-oriented books, and join communities that reflect your new identity. Remember, you are the average of the 5 energies you absorb most. Exercise 3. Mental environment reset. Content audit. Spend a day tracking the media and information you consume. What kind of social media posts are you scrolling through? What kinds of stories, narratives, or imagery are you feeding your mind? Action plan. Unfollow 10 accounts that do not support your ideal self. Follow 10 new creators, thinkers, or mentors who embody the life you're building. Replace entertainment that numbs with content that nourishes. This isn't about deprivation. It's about designing an environment that affirms your worth, vision, and identity. Exercise 4. Sensory anchors. Making identity tangible. Embed your new beliefs into your environment through sensory cues. For example, visual. Place a quote, vision board, or powerful image where you see it every morning. Auditory. Create a playlist of music that energizes your future self. Olfactory. Use scents, candles, oils that your mind associates with peace, power, or focus. Kinesthetic. Wear clothes that reflect how your desired self would show up. This creates an immersive feedback loop that conditions your nervous system to live as your new self. Consistently. Make your world a mirror of your mind. Neville Goddard taught that the world is yourself pushed out. This means you are always living in a feedback loop between thought and environment. Your job is to align both. Let your space, your conversations, your inputs, and your rituals be a vote for your transformation. Don't just visualize the life you want, live inside its architecture. Make your environment a living affirmation, not just of who you were, but of who you are now choosing to become. The core principle: identity first, effort second. Lasting transformation doesn't begin with effort. It begins with identity. As Neville said, change your conception of yourself and you will automatically change the world in which you live. Not eventually, not someday, automatically, because the world you experience is simply a mirror of the self you accept. And so, if you want to rewire your reality, you must first recode your beliefs, rescript your inner speech, and reclaim the imagination, that divine faculty which, as Neville taught, is God in action within you. One last thing. Let's bring it all together. According to Abraham Hicks, a belief is just a thought you keep thinking, and that belief, it creates a feeling. That feeling drives your behavior, and your behavior creates the results you're experiencing right now. So, belief is not passive. It is not a background idea or a philosophical luxury. It is the active architect of your reality, the blueprint that your subconscious mind follows without question. Whether it came from childhood, trauma, repetition, or culture, your current belief system is shaping every thought, every reaction, and every outcome in your life. But here's the empowering truth we've explored today. Your beliefs are not fixed. They are programmable, and your subconscious responds to three things: assumption, repetition, and emotion. Neville Goddard's teachings are not in conflict with modern neuroscience. In fact, they're two sides of the same coin. One speaks in the language of the soul, the other in the language of the brain. But both tell us the same thing: change the inner state, and the outer must follow. Shift your identity, and your world reorganizes around it. So the real question is this: what do you truly believe about yourself? Not what you say you believe, not what you hope is true, but what you live, think, and feel when no one's watching. Now ask yourself, what am I ready to believe instead? Because this is where the transformation begins. Not tomorrow, not next year. Right now, in this moment. You don't need permission. You don't need to be ready. You simply need to assume the identity of your desired self and live from it. If this message sparked something in you, if it challenged you, inspired you, or gave you language for what you've always felt inside, then let's keep the conversation going. Drop a comment below and answer this. What limiting belief are you ready to let go of today? We read every response, and your words might just inspire someone else to begin their transformation too. And if you found this episode valuable, share it with someone you care about, someone who's ready to reclaim their power and rewrite their inner story. This is just one part of the journey. There are more episodes waiting for you, deep dives into the subconscious, the science of inner speech, mental diets, imagination, and how ancient wisdom aligns with modern brain science. So if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This channel, Speech and Mind, is your space for rewiring thought, reclaiming identity, and learning to live from the inside out. Because as we say here, assume the highest, speak it into existence, and live from the end. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay conscious, stay intentional, and remember, the world you experience is the echo of what you dare to believe.